Hello once again. You may recognize where I'm at. I'm standing in the same exact location I was before. Um, for my marksman rotation guide, I'm going to do a little guide on the talent tree here for marksman hunters. Now, when you're filling this out, the way I did it was, I just went through and said, okay, what's beneficial for me, what's not. And things have changed since Wrath. Now that we have to kite things again and do CC, basically, Cataclysm seems to be like Burning Crusade version 2.0, where we actually have to trap things and you want to daze targets because certain fights require that you kill things before they reach a certain place, or like the last boss in Tolbarad, or I'm sorry, not Tolbarad, last boss in Grim Batol, where the ads come and you can't stop them, but you can daze them, so you want to daze things. So, like, for example, your concussive barrage talent. Right here, dazing for 4 seconds with Chimera Shot or Multi-Shot. All sorts of different things are needed now, so the talent tree logic that you use is going to be a little different than from what you're used to in Wrath. First things first, your efficiency reduces the focus cost of Arcane by 3, or Explosive and Chimera Shots by 6. We don't have Explosive Shot, but Chimera Shot being reduced by 6 is very nice. Instead of 50, it's only 44. So you want all 3 points there. You also want at least 1 point in Rapid Killing. Until you get higher stats, you're probably going to want 2 in there. But if you need to spend points somewhere else where it's going to be more beneficial for you, then I would say at least 2 points in there. But you can drop it down to 1 if you'd really like, and go for 2 and go for the throat. I don't really care about the pet abilities. The way I see it, the Go for the Throat and Sikkim are going to be more for Beast Mastery pet spec hunters. Just like, right here you have an Explosive Shot reduction in focus cost. That's for survival hunters. All specs have this, where the first couple rows in a talent tree apply to all, at least one of the other specs, because you have to have something to spend points on once you get past your 31 points to get to your total of 41. Anyway, so I put 3 in efficiency and 2 in rapid killing, and that gets me access to the bottom next row. Improved Steady Shot is very nice. 3 points there gives you a 15% ranged attack speed boost for 8 seconds. But only when you cast a Steady Shot twice in a row. This means that your rotation, you have to get your muscle memory down to always do 2 Steady Shots in a row. Whenever you do one, you might as well do a second one, even if you're going to drop your Serpent Sting off the target. That extra 15% is very nice for your DPS. You let that drop, and you're going to end up casting longer Steady Shots just to refresh it or get it back up. You want to be refreshing that while it's up, because that 15% extra boost gives you the boost in casting the 2 Steady Shots to refresh it anyway. So if you let it drop off, those 2 Steady Shots to get it back up are going to take longer, so it's an even worse hit to your DPS. Careful Aim increases the critical strike chance of your Steady Shot, Cobra Shot, and Aim Shot by 60% on targets that are above 80% health. There's a couple reasons I like this talent. One is, hey, extra crit. When you have 20% crit, that's 80% chance to crit on steady and aim shots. You're not going to be using Cobra Shot, because that's for the other specs to keep their Serpent Sting up. You have Chimera Shot for that purpose. But still, your steady shots on things that are above 80% health is very nice. Those crits. When you're misdirecting, you want those kinds of crits to misdirect more threat. I'm considering, though, maybe taking these 2 points away and maybe putting them into these talents here, so my pet does more damage. This is only active during the first 20% of a boss fight. So after it's below 80%, it's no longer giving you any benefit, and I don't like talents that do that. I don't like situational talents, and we'll get to that in row 4. Silencing Shot is absolutely vital and critical for a marksman hunter to have. There's going to be a lot of silencing of healers. Now you have your Scatter Shot, which will daze them and interrupt a cast, even if it's not like a silenceable cast. If you daze the target, it'll stop doing whatever it's doing. Some mobs will. It depends on the mob. But you're going to be required to use this quite often, and it brings so much utility, it's worth the 1 point. Concussive Barrage, as I said, is very nice. You may be required to kite a bunch of mobs, or even just one mob. Chimera Shot and Multi-Shots will daze them for 4 seconds. So you have a 5-second cooldown on Concussive Shot, a 9-second cooldown on a Chimera Shot, and in a pinch you could even do a Multi-Shot on a single target to daze them as well. But if you alternate between, you do a Concussive Shot, Chimera Shot, Concussive Shot, every 5 seconds or so you can have a daze on the target. Alright, for 4 seconds. So that's very, very welcome in things like Grim Batol and the last boss, especially Heroic when there's 2 of them and you have to take them down before they reach the eggs. It's also very nice to daze targets like that, just in any boss fight where there's adds and there may be kiting involved. In Omnitron Defense System, it's very, very useful, especially when Toxitron comes up and he spawns the 3 poison adds that go relentlessly towards 3 different raid members, and you need to slow them. So you drop a Frost Trap under Toxitron, they exit the Frost Trap, you're multi-shotting them, you're doing damage to all of them, dazing them for 4 seconds. You target one of them, do maybe a Concussive Shot on that one, that kind of thing. So slowing mobs is your job now. It's part of your job. Piercing Shots. This doesn't seem to do very much damage, to be honest with you. It's a bleed that lasts for 8 seconds every time you crit with aimed or steady or Chimera Shot. Now, the problem is you're probably critting every 2 to 3 seconds, so you never realize the full 30% of the damage dealt for all of them. It would be nice if it applied a different Piercing Shots debuff for every crit and had multiple debuffs that each had their own 8-second timer. That would be very beneficial. But if we look at the damage from my little demonstration of the rotation, we can see that Piercing Shots dot, it did 209 ticks. It's basically up all the time, and it did 194,000 damage. That's actually more than my Serpent Sting dot did over that time, so it is worth it. I'm just not sure if it's really worth having all 3 points in it. Maybe your mileage may vary. Maybe I'm going to do some experimenting, get rid of 2 points here and maybe 1 point there, and put them into these talents up here. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do, but this seems to be working for me so far. We've already gone over Bombardment in the previous video on the rotation, which you should watch if you haven't. True Shot Aura is vital, I think, because you're not always going to have some other class that provides a 10% attack power buff, and when you're talking in the tens of thousands of attack power, that extra 1,000 attack power is really nice to have. And keep in mind, all of your shots scale with attack power. Your Serpent Sting, my Serpent Sting has a base right now of 67, 68. I'm going to cancel my 90 agility there and 300 agility there, and look, it's down to 6408. With my food buff, my flask, my Call of the Wild, and Roar of Courage all at the same time, it's that Serpent Sting is topping 8,000 over 15 seconds, so that's very vital, I think. Along with True Shot Aura, you can't cancel the aura anymore; it's automatically on you just because of your spec. But without that, if you were to look at my character sheet, I would have, instead of 10,271, I'd be in the 9,000s. It's just a nice talent to have. 1 point for 10% more attack power. It basically means, you get your agility food up, and you get an extra 300, 400 attack power from flasks and food. It's actually 440. All of your extra agility and attack power that's added to your base gets a 10% bonus. So it makes all your flasks, your food, your Roar of Courage, all of that stuff makes it 10% better. Let me see. Termination. This is interesting. Your Steady Shot and Cobra Shot abilities grant an additional 3 focus when dealt on targets at or below 25% health. Most mobs are going to be below 25% health for very little time, and that extra 3 focus is not going to matter, except for maybe instead of ending the fight with no focus, you'll end the fight with 20. It's really not that important. But when you're on a boss fight that's going to last 11 minutes, that's like 3 minutes that you're going to have with that boss at below 25% health. And sometimes the boss fights are going to have heroism popped at that point. And so, you have your haste and everything. You're going to be doing a lot more damage at the end of the fight there. But I don't like talents that are conditional like that, where it's only a quarter of the time they're active. And that extra 3 focus is not that important compared to some of the other talents you could points you can spend on other talents. You want talent points to work for you all the time, as far as I'm concerned. Now, then you have resistance is futile. When your marked target attempts to run, flee, or move, you have a 4% chance to cause your next kill command on the marked target within 8 seconds to refund the focus cost. Again, we're not even using kill command in our rotation, so I'm not even going to bother with it. Kill command is nice, but I don't have it implemented in my rotation, so I'm not even going to bother with this talent, right? Actually, you could go either way. I don't use kill command, so I'm not going to get this talent, or I'm not going to get this talent, so I'm not going to use kill command. If you get this talent, make sure you use kill command instead of arcane shot. Your mileage may vary once again. Rapid recuperation, that's very nice. You get 12 focus every 3 seconds while under the effects of rapid fire. So, you can pew really fast and really hard. Master Marksman, you have to get this for Chimera Shot, but it's nice anyway. Watch for your 5 stack of Master Marksman to get a free aimed shot. That's the only time you should ever really be using aimed shot, is when it's free, because it's 50 focus and a 3-second cast. And so, no focus, no cast time, boom. Huge. Okay. Marked for Death is nice because, you start off with Serpent Sting, and then Arcane, Chimera, Arcane, whatever you want to do. And in any order, you could do Serpent Sting, Chimera, Arcane for all of your, focus, because by the time you get to that last Arcane, you're at like 20 focus, and it's like half, or maybe a tenth of a second before you get that 22 to fire it off. But regardless, this is really nice when you're, instead of switching targets and automatically using a hunter's mark on them to get them prepared for fighting them, you can just start pew-pewing and it's automatically put on there. It lasts for 15 seconds, and believe me, it will never drop off, because you're going to be firing arcanes and chimeras all the damn time on every single target that you focus on. So, no more hunter's marks on any targets. It's so nice, you don't have to do it. And of course, then Post Haste reduces the cooldown of your rapid fire by 2 minutes. That puts it in line with Readiness, which we got here. And so rapid fire, readiness, rapid fire. 3 minutes later, 3 minutes and 30 seconds later. Actually, 3 minutes and 15 seconds later, if you want to be technical about it. They're both off of cooldown, and boom, 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 you can do it again. This is very valuable in a boss fight that lasts 10 or 11 minutes, like some of the raids are now. Like I said, Omnitron, on average, when we were taking it down and we were getting close, it was about 10 to 11 minutes, and that's with 1 DPS, not basically 3,000 below everyone else. That's 3 different times you're using rapid fire, readiness, rapid fire. So it's 30 seconds every 3 minutes of rapid fire. That's a really nice way to go. And of course, Chimera Shot, your bread and butter. Now, you've used 31 points in Marksman. What do you want to use elsewhere? Well, you know what? Pathing is nice. Ranged haste by 3%. Haste is your number one off, like green rating you want. You want haste, because the more haste you have, the faster you regen your focus. And if you notice, it shows right here, haste increases attack speed and focus regeneration. So because you're using steady shot to get your focus back, you want to cast your steady shot faster. Haste allows you to do that. You also want to proc your mastery more often. The more opportunities to proc it, the more you will proc it. I know that there are some people out there saying mastery is the number one stat. I disagree, at least for marksman hunters. You have 8 seconds of that buff, that 15